Hello. Yes, we welcome you back to PSSB. It's our call that you subscribe to this channel. You will not regret. It's me, Richard, and let us look at the question. It says, the following forces are acting at a given point. F1, which is 5 newtons opposite to x direction. F2, 7 newtons in the x direction. F3, 8 newtons in the negative y direction. And F4, 4 newtons in the positive y direction. And the question says, calculate the resultant force. How do we go about that? Okay, we'll have to remember that once they are indicating x and y, and so it means that they are talking about the Cartesian planes. And we have to remember that for Cartesian, this is x. Okay, let us choose those which are in x. We have the 7 and the 5. And they said 5 is opposite. So let us assume this one is 5. Okay, that's 5. Remember, the plane goes to the right, so opposite must be like that one. So 7 is in the same direction. And that's our 7. Okay, those are represented. Let's look at the y. The y, remember, y upwards is positive and downwards is negative. They said 8 newtons in the negative, and that's 8 newtons. Okay, and they said 4 newtons in the positive y direction is 4 newtons. Okay, you have to remember that the length represents the magnitude and the arrow represents the direction. Remember, look at here, 7 is bigger than 5, 8 is bigger than 4. So we have to remember that vectors in the same direction, they are additives. We can add them together. So if we take the positive, so this one is going to be positive, this one is negative, and this one is positive, this is negative. So what do we do? You can say that in the x direction, our resultant is going to be 7 plus negative 5 will give you f resultant x. And in the y direction, we are going to say negative 8 plus 4. Okay. With that, what do we have? Here we are going to have 2. That's the resultant vector or resultant force. in the x direction, and here we are going to have 4. So this is 2 newtons, and this is -4. Okay, what do we do under this circumstance? We come back again now. What do we have? Now we have our resultant in the y direction, and the resultant in the y direction is 4, but negative. And we have our resultant in the x direction, which is 2. So this is 2 newtons, is positive. Remember, to the right is positive. And this is the one in the y direction, which is 4. And they are meeting at 90. So what do we do after that? After that, we go Pythagoras. And what do we say? We are going to say F resultant or F net is going to be equal to F1 plus F2, so F net squared, F1 squared, F2 squared. And what do we do? Next is just to substitute. What is our F1 squared? You can say 2 squared. And F2, we can say 4 squared. And from there, here we have the 4, here we have the 16, and what we get after that is going to be 20, and that is F net squared. What do we do here? You find the square root. And that is it. Square root of F net squared is going to be F net. And square root of 20, let's see what we have. So that's what you get. The net force is 4.47 newtons. Then comes this question. It says that sketch tail-to-tail diagram showing the resultant force. How do we indicate that one? Actually, we get it from what we have this side. That's Fy. And you have Fx. Going like that. So, if this is our F1 and this is our F2, where do you put the F net or F resultant? F resultant is in this direction. So this is our F net. Okay. Then lastly comes this question. It says, sketch head-to-tail vector diagram of the resultant force. Okay, how do you go about this? Okay, you have to remember that a vector remains the same as long as it has the same magnitude and direction. So if I draw this one as my F1, and remember I'm drawing tail to head, it will come here because it must start from the head. So I'm going to have it here. And that's it. So if I have them like this is my F2. It means that my F net is going to be here. And you have to remember that F net, or resultant force, has to be in the same direction as this too. So what I'm going to do, we have it here, and it comes like that. So this is the head to tail vector diagram. With that, we'd like to thank you. The channel is PSSB, Physical Sciences Silver Bullet, and it's me, Richard. We appreciate your time. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks. Bye-bye.